No rebound? No compression? No tool-free sag adjustment? Japanese springs? No spherical rod bearings? I just can't even with this shock right now. I can't do it. I can't do it. All right, hey, it's Chase, and we're back with another Legend Tech Tuesday. And in this video, we're gonna be talking about mainly a comparison between stock suspension and what you can expect switching to something like Legend shocks. Now, you've got a couple of options here. This would be what they would consider their premium shock. And then this one here is stock. This is one of the stock shocks. You have a smaller, skinny one on the other side. And the truth of the matter is that they're just not very high quality shocks. They don't really generally work as advertised. And you, for the most part, are not going to weigh enough to actually get the suspension sag on those shocks set so that they give you a good ride. And that's where the Legends products come in, because these are all gonna be fine tunable with preload adjustment, rebound adjustment, compression adjustment on some models. Where you're gonna be able to dial those shocks in specifically for your ride. The spring rates on stock are not very good. The spring itself is not a very good quality. The adjustments just aren't there. So when you move over to something that's 100% American made, you've got American steel springs, billet aluminum, and shocks that are actually going to do what you ask of it. So when you set this preload up for yourself or two up, you're gonna get a shock that sits down in the travel more, and that's gonna allow the wheel to move up and down correctly as you ride down the road. That's gonna eat up a lot more of those harsh bumps and the potholes, and that's gonna make your ride way better. What you generally are getting with these is a really stiff shock that is just fully extended all the time, and it's really uncomfortable. You don't weigh enough. This ends up being a shock that no matter who walks into that dealership, pretty much everyone's got to be able to sit on a bike, touring model bike, whatever the case is, and not bottom that suspension out, or they're probably not going to buy it. So you get a way oversprung shock. You're getting a one size fits all. It's not an overly high quality product to begin with, and then the adjustments just don't work. So switching to something like this, serviceable, rebuildable, this is gonna be something that's gonna last you the life of that bike, and then probably the life of the next bike. These shocks are lifetime warranty, and at any point your riding style changes, whether you go from one bike to another, if you need length conversion, spring rate changes, those kinds of things, you're gonna be able to get pretty much all that stuff within these shocks with a host of other things that are gonna make it way better than, you know, stock $15 shocks, to be honest with you. Whether you get a CVO all the way down the list to your standard Street Glide, they're all coming with pretty much the exact same shocks. They're pretty much the same chassis. These are not a one size fits all. This is something that is designed to work specifically with you and make sure that you are getting exactly what you're looking for. Comfort and performance are a very subjective thing, and not everybody thinks the same thing is soft. Not everybody thinks that a Ferrari feels the same way. So by being able to adjust these different parameters of the shock and fine tune them specifically to what you want, or you and your passenger, or however it is you're setting the bike up, you're gonna have way more opportunity to find specifically what you're looking for. Again, these here, one of the big things that really cause a pretty uncomfortable ride is the way that these shocks are mounted. They're really rigid mounted on the bike, and that generally creates suspension bind because your subframe and swing arm have some flex to them. So when you've rigid mounted those shocks, you create a bind as you go left and right, and that's gonna end up giving you kind of that weird wobble that you don't really like. Where on all of the Legend products, you're gonna have spherical rod bearings here, so you can actually pivot these shocks, and that's gonna eliminate that suspension bind. That is going to allow those shocks to twist freely once they're tightened down on the bike, and that's gonna make it way more comfortable and eliminate that bind. It's gonna allow the swing arm and the subframe to do what it wants to do so that it can smooth you out, make you way more stable in the corners, absorb bumps correctly, and so on. That's a basic overview of the products. There is a lot more to it. There is an ample amount of adjustments. Generally, I tell folks these shocks go softer and firmer than just about anybody would ever want them. And somewhere in the middle is your happy medium to be nice and comfortable and get what you actually paid for. I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot us an email. It's service@legendsuspensions.com, or check in with that local shop, ask them some questions, and we can definitely help you out either way. Be a legend. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Tech Tuesday. Rolling whenever. Snap, crackle, and pop. A few tests. I'm running a few tests. Do you like shocks? Yes? No? Maybe. Is your volume down?
Try it.
Can't do it. If you're running these, you're missing out. Period. They're just garbage.